Am I the asshole for wanting chocolate cake for my birthday every year? This is very stupid and I considered not posting this at all, but it honestly has been a point of contention between me and my mom for years now. So, I really like chocolate cake. Every year I request it for my birthday, and every year I had to fight my mom on that. My mom believes that in general people prefer not to eat chocolate birthday cake. So for this reason my birthday cake mustn't be chocolate. Her argument is that birthday celebrations are about the guests as much as the birthday person and that I won't be the only one eating the cake. Mine is that the guests that don't like chocolate cake can deal with it a singular day of the year and I should be able to get the cake flavor I want for my birthday. Some important info. 1. She is the one who pays for the cakes as I got no job. I imagine that once I have my own money, the flavor of my birthday cake will be a little less of a problem. Although even then she will still be dissatisfied, I'm sure. 2. Most years I do get a chocolate cake, but never without struggle. 3. I will eat non-chocolate cake but I don't feel any desire for it. Chocolate is the only cake flavor I truly enjoy. 4. In my country, the usual flavor of birthday cake is what we call flour cake, or white cake. That is, a butter-based cake with no flavoring, no vanilla, almond extract, etc. I'm the only person I know who has a chocolate birthday cake often or even at all. It is a noticeable contrast and my mom's belief that most people prefer non-chocolate birthday cake is not unfounded. 5. My birthdays are always very small, just a dinner or lunch with no more than 8 people most of the time. There will only be 2 or 3 people that I know don't really like chocolate cake, including my mom herself. I have written chocolate 11 times and cake 19 times in this post. Thanks for your opinions in advance. Perhaps you guys can also help me understand my mom's perspective. It's your day, you should always get to pick. Full stop. Not the asshole, it's your birthday. She can have whatever cake she wants on her own birthday. My mom always asked what kind of cake I wanted for my birthday, and I do the same for my own children. Also, it's cake, it shouldn't be that serious. It's still cake rolling on the floor laughing. Mom doesn't like chocolate cake and wants to choose the cake on your birthday. She can suck it up once a year. Not the asshole. One year my daughter got a watermelon cake. It was just watermelon with I think Cool Whip as the frosting. Birthday person chooses the flavor always. Nobody is forcing your mom to eat the cake. If she really wanted, she could have a cupcake with whatever flavor she wanted. But you get the cake you want on your birthday. Not the asshole. It's your birthday, your mom should get the chocolate cake. If she's very concerned about guests, she can get a second cake. Not the asshole. Birthday person should get to decide. I like cheesecake, so that's what I get. My husband is a chocolate guy. Neither of my kids like cake but they love icing, so I've done a bowl of icing. We've also done donuts and pancakes. Basically the birthday person should get the treat they ask for. Am I the asshole for not picking my children up from their father's house? 2 months ago me, 33F, and the father, 36M, of my children split after 11 years together and 2 very young children. I've been doing my best to keep the relationship civil and co-parent well. He has a profession which has rotating hours and very long shifts. Going into this separation, I knew that his time to spend with our children was limited. The first time he told me he would keep them overnight, I packed their little bags with everything and anything they would need. And, since I was going to work and it's coincidentally 3 minutes from his family's house, where he is staying, I took them over in the morning, dropped them off with him and headed to work. The very next day was their first day in daycare, but they're enrolled in one close to where we live. Very close to my mom who will drop everything to pick them up if I can't. It's about a 30-minute ride from his house to the daycare. So he told me, since he doesn't know how to style their hair, to come over very early the next day, do their hair, dress them up, go with him to drop off, then go to work. I told him that made no sense since I would be the one running all over the place when he could just bring them over in the morning. I would do their hair and dress them. Then we could take them to daycare, literally 5 minutes from my house, and I would go to work. He thought about it but said okay. Later that day I got a text saying that it was best to just not take them to their first day because it would be too much of a hassle. I said fine, no worries, I will let the teachers know they're spending the day with dad. After work the next day, since I'm so close, I picked them up at his house then went home. 2 weeks later, yesterday, was their second overnight stay. He was meant to pick them up at 7 a.m. I told him that something happened at work and I was needed to come in to deal with that, so I needed to be at the office at 8:30 a.m. He then said, it's best if you bring them, that way you make sure you won't be late. It made me feel a type of way, but I said sure, no problem. He also told me he was going to a get-together, today, with his coworkers at 4 p.m., so he would bring the kids over by 12 p.m. Again, I felt a type of way but said sure, it's your only time free from work, you choose how to spend it. At 7 a.m., I load up my kids in the car and bring them to his house. My BFF asked me to come over after work but I declined because it's the only time I have to be by myself. First thing I see on my phone today is a text from him asking if I can go pick up the kids. That the youngest has the sniffles and that he was catching it too. I asked him if he was still planning to go to his get-together. He said yes, but he was stopping at the pharmacy before to get allergy meds and asked again if I could pick up the kids. I replied no, so he said I'll bring them over as soon as they wake up. So, am I the asshole? Go through the courts and get a formal custody arrangement in place. Best time to start the process is now. Not the asshole. Your ex doesn't want to parent. Document. Get full custody and child support. NTA. Go to court. It does not get better. My ex is the exact same way and I am so done with begging the courts to do something. I just co-parent nicely in front of our daughter and resent him all other times. Your ex isn't a dad, he is just a dude who thinks having kids makes him special. Go for 100% custody, parenting time and tell him to fuck off ATP. It hurts, it does. I am not going to lie, but you need to do what's best for your kids. Not the asshole, and I may get downvoted for this, but you are teaching your ex how to treat you and your children and it's not good. A father need to be able to dress his kids and do their hair. He needs to be able to care for them when they are sick and you need to stop being so available and accommodating so he learns. Is this really how you want your kids to grow up and think a father and co-parent should act? Dumping their children off at the slightest inconvenience. My sperm donor did this and I don't speak to either of my parents anymore. Wonder why? I had a friend who got divorced when her kids were little. When it was her ex's turn to have the kids in Halloween, he thought she was going to get their costumes and drop them off to him all dressed so he could take them trick-or-treating. That is where you are heading. You're already there. He can't get them to daycare. Good lord, I'm glad you left this guy. Bravo for that. Now it is time for him to either give you full custody and pay child support, or learn how to dress his own kids and take them to daycare. Not the asshole, but you keep giving in to him. You need a formalized custody plan. He needs to work on solving his own problems and learning how to parent. Am I the asshole? First weekend away with my wife in over a year since we had a baby. So wifey and I are going abroad to see one of our favorite bands this weekend. We actually had tickets to see them last year but ended up being on our baby's due date so we couldn't go, so thought this would be a nice way to bring it all full circle. Anyways, since we have had legit 0 days just us together since July last year, we decided to make a weekend of it and take advantage and do 2 nights as her mother will mind the baby for us. I had envisaged taking her to a nice restaurant and seeing some sights and Maine, taking a show on the first night, then the concert and drinks the second, etc. Her cousin, who I have met twice in 14 years. Wedding included, lives in the same city, so my wife asked her if she had any recommendations for somewhere nice to eat. I'm not sure how, or why, but the cousin decided to book a table for us and her husband for dinner on the first night. They don't even know where in the city we are staying, so likely travel involved, but anyway. Now look, they are nice people, but I wanted a chance to reconnect with my wife, relax and have a fun weekend, so when she told me the plan, I suggested she go back to them and say, look, sorry but we already had plans, etc. But she thinks that makes us the asshole and won't do it. She asked if it was really that bad? To which I said, look, I'm not going to apologize for wanting to spend time with her, and not her family, the one opportunity we've had to do so since 2024. I told her how rude and presumptuous it was of her cousin to make plans for us all, that we have never hung out with them before and there is a significant interest gap between us, and that I wasn't going. The net result is that now, instead of being a few days away from what should have been a great weekend away, we aren't speaking to each other because she's too polite to cancel. So am I the asshole? Edit. Just to add here, my wife doesn't want to go to dinner with them either. We planned the weekend together. Dinners tend to be more romantic, lunches less so. Why don't you suggest that your wife tell her cousin that you had planned to have a romantic dinner that night, and would cousin mind meeting for lunch or brunch instead? If that doesn't suit the cousin, it would be less of a big deal to cancel the dinner with cousin. Then the cousin's not being totally rejected, it will only take 2 hours out of your weekend, and you two can still have a romantic dinner together. Not the asshole, but you do have to consider family relationships in how this is approached. You're not the asshole for wanting to have a dinner with just your wife. You are the asshole though for your temper tantrum and ruining the whole weekend with your crap attitude. It's hardly rude and presumptuous for an out-of-town relative to make plans with you when you say, hey, I'm coming to your town. Where should I eat? She probably thought that was the point of reaching out. But nah, just tell her you guys want a rare meal out alone. Not a big deal. You are the asshole. Your massive overreaction and temper tantrum are a much bigger barrier to reconnecting with your wife than a couple of hours having dinner with her cousin. Not the asshole, this is about more than a dinner. Be vulnerable. Talk to your wife and explain how much you were longing for her company alone. Explain that to you. It's like relatives inviting themselves to join you for dinner during your honeymoon. You're upset that she doesn't have your back in this. Sorry about the people calling you a toddler on a tantrum. Not the asshole. What most people responding to you are missing is the info you added. She doesn't want to go to dinner with them, yet she will not cancel because she's afraid to hurt her cousin's feelings. So she'll sacrifice your feelings instead and fight with you over this. That's a shitty partner with her priorities mixed up. Am I the asshole because I committed to pet sitting before I started seeing the guy I'm currently with? So I picked up pet sitting regularly when I was a vet tech 8 years ago. I still use it for additional income, and this year has been hard to say the least. I don't often do overnights anymore the past few years because it can be so cumbersome, except for a few friends and established clients who don't abuse me. So for Labor Day weekend, back in July, I had an old client reach out to me and ask if I would be willing to pet sit for her. I said absolutely, and she said she would finalize the details as we got closer. So she just finalized them yesterday. I told my significant other that last night I'd be pet sitting X amount of days, and they flipped out, telling me it was weird to be in someone else's house, and if we had plans I would have to cancel and I need to communicate better. They then proceeded to tell me that I need to get their approval for any job I pick up moving forward. They don't pay my bills, and I need additional pay when my job is stagnant as I'm commission-based. I feel like I'm being controlled and that this isn't a ridiculous job to pick up nor something that should be this big of a deal. Not the asshole. This guy has some serious control issues. I would leave him now. God damn, what is the deal with Redditors dating horrible human beings the past couple of days? Please dump them now. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. This comment right here. They then proceeded to tell me that I need to get their approval for any job I pick up moving forward. This should be a huge red flag for you. You need to break up and run away from this control freak. Not the asshole. DTMF. Dump the motherfucker. It is understandable to be disappointed if you can't plan time together for Labor Day, but their reaction is over the top. Not the asshole, but your boyfriend is location flag, location flag, location flag, location flag. Just so I'm understanding the timeline, you were asked in July to pet sit, and had not been seeing this guy yet? So, you've only been seeing him a few weeks at most? That'd be an immediate dumping if it were me. He's upset about a commitment you made before him. He says you need his permission to accept work. He thinks it's weird you're going to be in someone else's house. He says he expects you to drop commitments if he wants to make plans with you. This would be grounds for divorce, to be honest. Red flags are signs that a problem exists, not the problem themselves. This guy is a problem. Not the asshole.